What's going on, sports card hobby family? We are back again. I'm starting to feel a little bit more alive, starting to get back. I'm up from 69% up to maybe like 89%. I'm starting to get fully healthy, so I'm feeling good about it today.
So you better dial.
We're going to talk about, are we kidding ourselves with the way that the sports card hobby market is currently and what we think could come down the road? What are some signs of things to come?
Single individual cards can book anywhere from $100 to $3,000 or $4,000.
A lot of my thoughts kind of stemmed from the video I did a couple of days ago where I was showing pulls and box prices going back 5, 10, 15 years ago.
It's a rookie with oh shit. Oh putain. Triple logo man.
And just the changes, the drastic changes that have happened over those years. And I think that maybe we downplay it. For one, I didn't even kind of realize some things, so we'll talk through that, because it taught me something. Just looking back at what was and where we are now, just how accelerated everything has become. And maybe just because I'm in it day to day, haven't really noticed such huge changes that have occurred. Before I go on, huge thanks to today's video sponsor, COMC.com. Are you on the hunt for that next NBA star or looking to find some Hall of Fame hockey autographs? Look no further than COMC. Their growing 35 million card inventory is a treasure trove for collectors with a wide range of options to suit every taste and preference. The user-friendly COMC interface allows you to filter and search for cards with ease, ensuring you find exactly what cards you're looking to add to your collection. Don't hesitate. Start your COMC.com journey today. I've got links in the video description as well as down in the pinned comments to take you there. All right, not necessarily a right or wrong to this, just kind of free-flowing thought on this subject. And again, going back, I was looking at those box breaks and the pulls and just how innocent really the hobby was going back just 5 years ago.
The main thing about this is the resale prices on this are always just crazy. I think right off the bat they were asking maybe $250-ish. You can probably find it $220-ish. This is the first off the line edition, and I think it's going for like $325-ish on eBay.
And then when you go back 10, 15 years, I hate to call it a dead zone, but it kind of feels like from really like 2000 to 2016-ish, 17, 18, where prices started to move up to some degree, but even 16, 17, 18, we're not talking about anything drastic. But 2000, we're talking about like 17, 18 years of flatline, just kind of everything just very, very flat. I mentioned this when I came back into the hobby in 2018. I looked at sports cards and graded comic books, and cards didn't have any volatility to them. I mean, I remember I bought a Joe Montana rookie card and a PSA 8 when I got back into the hobby for $115, and they were there all day for, $110 to $150. They were always available on eBay. Not a rare card, but my point is just that there was not much movement on those cards. And then we kind of got into more of a speculation mode I'd mentioned as I got into 2019 with Mahomes and Luka and some other players. But I mean, for the most part, if you were collecting cards back then, outside of probably really rare stuff that didn't pop up very much, I think the people that did really, really well over this last boom were those that they were already collecting that rare stuff. They were already looking for those kind of rare items. And then they were spending what was big money in 2015, 16, or 2010 and just held on to it and happened to have still had it as we hit this last boom. Those are the obvious winners over the last few years. Just people that bought and hold, they were collecting cards, right place, right time, and it just worked out for those folks. When we look at card shows and card shops and just all the things that are hobby-based, there is a lot of people that are actively in this and getting into this.
You take the card and put it in the sleeve. You take the card and put it in the sleeve.
While we've had a slowdown on prices and a drop down of prices on really kind of the non-rare stuff, we could say, interest in the hobby and sentiment remains really strong. And overall interest is really important. The fact that card shows are packed, whether it be regional or national card shows, is a really big deal.
It's $120 Edgar and James rookie right there.
It does remind me of 1991, 92, when I was going to card shows in the mall. They were absolutely slammed. But then just a few short years later, after the baseball strike in 94 and just kind of overall fatigue, I think, for the hobby, it slowed way, way down. All of a sudden, there's not those same huge mall shows, not the same sort of interest that was there. And so that's the one thing that I kind of wonder. And of course, we've got Fanatics, we've got eBay, we've got massive companies that are really pushing to keep that momentum going. But what I wonder is, what if we have a couple of years? Doesn't necessarily have to be 15 years from 2000 to 2016 or whatever. But what if we just have a couple of years where there's just, there's not really exciting draft classes. Right now we've got Wemby, we've got Bedard. I know the hockey fans are going to kill me. Bedard. Everyone's chasing these guys. There's exciting rookies. The new QB class that's about to be drafted up here in the next month. Everyone's excited about, there's going to be 3 quarterbacks for the top 3 picks possibly. So there's a lot of rookie excitement, and rookie excitement really drives new product.
Then your 100 rookie cards. Unbelievable. And we are back up again.
Without rookie excitement, new product's not going to sell. You've got to have that excitement. Oh my gosh, my team is going to get, one of these huge players, or you're speculating, you're like, oh man, the Patriots, after this long Tom Brady era, they had Mac Jones for a bit, and now they're going to draft another QB, and it's going to be the whoever era after that. And there's excitement and hope.
I'm going to guarantee you not 1, but 2 Jim Mint-10 Dale Earnhardts.
Around those cards. And so, we've had some nice draft classes, but what if we just have a couple of years of, it's just kind of, it's a little bit boring out there for prospects. Maybe some of the guys that everyone was excited about are underachieving. We have seen that. Actually, it's flipped around though. Zion and the Pelicans, for example, actually playing good basketball. So maybe things are starting to come full circle on some of these prospects that people, put a lot of money into. I'm not saying that Zion cards are going up and all of that stuff, but maybe some of this stuff is starting to come full circle. But what if we just have a couple years, 2-3 years where, people just get fatigued, with breaking and with buying singles and with just kind of everything that comes with hobbying, and they just decide, what, man, we're just going to go in a different direction. Me and my family, maybe it's a father-son thing, mother-son thing, or whatever. And again, you've got a lot of social media, you've got a lot of different groups out there that are really promoting the hobby more so than ever before. And like I said, with Fanatics, they've done a really nice job on the marketing side. I know from QC and other sorts of things, there's been some bungles with Topps and with Panini. But Fanatics Topps has really marketed. They have done a lot, especially considering they don't yet have the NBA and NFL licenses. So there has been a lot of efforts. But again, I look at it and I look at current pricing and where a lot of the stuff sits and how much of the overall supply of cards is just on the sidelines because, someone doesn't want to take a loss on it, or they're just like, we don't need the money at this point, so we'll just kind of sit on a lot of these cards. But it kind of gives an impression of pricing that isn't quite accurate because you're just kind of looking at the stuff that's selling, the few items that are selling for these particular cards. But there's just a lot of people that are just going to hold on because they can't afford to take that loss. And I know that there have been people taking losses. I don't want to discount, there's high-end collectors / speculators that have taken hits over the last couple years just to move out. But I also have to believe that there's quite a few folks that are just kind of hanging on to certain cards because, it's a $500 hit, it's a $1,000 hit, and maybe they're not higher end, collectors, and they just want to see how it pans out. Maybe it'll recover. And I think for a lot of collectors / speculators, including myself, I'm looking for pockets. I mentioned Tom Brady stuff. I'll buy Tom Brady stuff as it presents itself. There's a lot of buy it now on eBay.
On your marks, get set, go.
Huge bins on eBay, OBO, but it's still a lot. It's still, frankly, kind of looking back a couple years at pricing, it's kind of like they have it set at their best case scenario and they'll probably take somewhere in between. But when I see these cards run at auction, it might be a third, a quarter of the price. That's where I've been picking up cards where, it's $800 OBO on eBay and I win the auction at $200. I win the auction at $150, for this Brady card, and so that, again, I think that there's kind of pockets there, but it's just being patient and waiting for that right auction. Or I'll see a buy it now. I'll kind of, have something on my watch list. It's set at $200 and then all of a sudden I've got a seller offer for $100. They literally slash it in half. And maybe I make a counter off of that. I had a card that I had exactly that happen. It was a 180 buy it now, and I had watched it, and it was at 90 was then the offer to the watchers, and I countered at 70, and I got the card for $70.
I didn't stutter.
So that's where I'm buying right now. I'm buying where I'm just trying not to reach on stuff. Again, just given the amount of money that was flush into the sports card hobby going back a few years.
Here's a $500. No, it's even more. Greg Maddox right there. Fleer update.
it's always a question mark to me how much of that money is still kind of sitting in here that still needs to come out. You know, there's still a little bit, maybe some holders out there, they're just kind of holding out, but eventually they're going to give. A card, for example, that I do want is a 2000 Bowman Chrome Brady in a 9. I'd love to have a 10, but I'd like to just have it in a 9. I think that would be a great card just to kind of buy and hold, and just want to have a copy. It's kind of that flagship rookie card. I understand it's not a rare Brady rookie card, but it's kind of one of the important ones to me. And it's sitting right at like 22 to 2,500, 2,800. But I look at it and I'm like, what would it take for that card to go to sub 2,000? It's an available card. It's been sub 2,000 before, quite a bit lower than that. You know, not that long ago in time. There's still a lot of money, I think, that's, again, kind of flush into that card where maybe people paid 3 for it, maybe they paid 4 for it. They don't necessarily want to take 2. They don't want to take 1,500, but it's a card that I'm okay being patient on because it's not numbered to 25. It's not like it's not available. I can get the card. The 9 score Barry Sanders rookie card in a 10. It's a similar card for me where I can remember this card being $350 going back 5 years. It's sitting hard and heavy. It's just, it won't move down off of, you know, $1,200, maybe $1,000 for the card. But for me, it's kind of like, that's an available card. It's not mega rare. And I understand, you know, it's one of those cards that's highly collectible. It's kind of like the 89 Upper Deck Griffey Jr. rookie card. It's always going to be in demand. It's an iconic card. I know it's overproduced, but it's an iconic card in the hobby. There'll always be demand for that card, especially in a 10. And so how far will it come down? But again, I just want to kind of see what happens there, because those are the types of cards, if there is a movement out, if there is a little bit, we go back to a little bit more of a flatlining, stop visiting shows as much. People just kind of like, hey, you know what, I need a break from the hobby for a little bit. And maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years, and then it kind of resurges again. But that little break will be the real kind of buying opportunity. I think about that as I'm looking at cards now. You know, don't reach on certain things because, you know, it's available. It'll be there. And what's going to happen over the next couple of years in the economy, we talk about it. I've had a lot of people say, hey, everything is fantastic.
Use the stretch pay. That'll look good. Use the stretch pay.
Look at the jobs reports. Look at the inflation is down and this and that. But I'm reading between the lines, and there is cause for concern. I know, and some people say, like, everybody's been, you know, reporting on a recession for years now. We've been in kind of a weird, like, cloaked recession where the numbers tell a story, but sentiment, and when I look out into the world and I see what's actually happening, tells a different story. So for me personally, I'm just kind of, I'm a little bit still in cautious mode, and I'm kind of in a little bit more of a wait and see mode. Crypto is kind of one of those things that's been going bonkers. A lot of it has to do with institutional money that's come in. But that was something, again, going back a couple of years, like everyone left it for dead. Now I'm looking back at, I should have bought Solana at $25 when it went all the way down. And I have a lot of Solana. I should have bought more. But again, you know, sentiment goes way down, and that is when the buying opportunity occurs. I think there's good buying opportunities for cards in pockets right now. There's pockets of cards, and we all have to decide what that's going to look like, which player, which card, etc. But again, I think it's the same with all of these different markets, in the financial markets and the cryptos, with the crypto stuff. You know, there's kind of like all these little pockets of opportunity, and it's just interesting. But again, let me go all the way back to what I was talking about in the beginning. Cards were not cool.
All right, now we've got the dual patch autograph, LeBron and MJ.
From that video I did a couple of days ago showing kind of the pulls, it just showed the innocence that nobody was involved. You know, one commenter was saying, you know, those 03 exquisite basketball boxes were sitting. You know, and we've heard 86 Fleer basketball when it came out, nobody cared about it, nobody bought it. 52 Tops baseball, you know, everybody wants that 52 Tops mantle. And why is it somewhat scarce or feel like it is? There's a story that 52 Tops was dumped out in the ocean or in the Hudson River or wherever, you know, because they couldn't sell it. And that just kind of like, it just resonates with me because there's still such a hot market out there right now. When you look at, you know, a lot of the sentiment around this stuff, it's not as if for this stuff we're buying into kind of this undiscovered world. You know, the undiscovered world was, you know, 10, 15 years ago, the dead zone. You know, the dead zone was when there was real money to be made. And again, like I said with the crypto stuff, where crypto drops and everybody's like, haha, told you. You know, with cards, I think that there's some similarities there where are we going to reach a point where we do just see fatigue? We do see people that kind of move out, and there are some really, really great buying opportunities. Maybe we've got some good buying opportunities now, but man, there could be some really great opportunities on the horizon. Or, you know what? Maybe the momentum just keeps going. The price discovery just continues to kind of stay. You know, we've got big companies now that have established it as, you know, a more of a mainstream hobby that just continues on, and there's not really a drop off. That could be the other part of this equation as well. I just don't know. It's a funny topic. So anyway, I wanted to kind of jump on here and just talk about it. Are we fooling ourselves into thinking like this is the new normal? Is this a new normal where shows are packed, stores are opening up everywhere and packed? Or is this kind of is it a blip in the radar? Is it kind of, are we still in boom time? A lot of people feel like because prices came down, we're out of the boom. There is no boom. You know, everything's dead. I hear that all the time. You know, hobby is dead. This thing is dead. It's going to be dead. And it's obviously not. You know, interest is there and people are showing up. You know, there is a ton of nostalgia, interest, all that stuff is still happening. But what if there's a little bit of a lapse that could be on the horizon, whether it be 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years? And could that just be an amazing time for people trying to pick up stuff when it's not cool to pick it up? Because like I said, from 2000 to 2016, it wasn't cool to pick up any of this stuff. You were like, it was very, very niche. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay healthy, stay awesome.
Use the website if you have to.
And I will talk to you again later.